The thing about America is its diversity is its beauty and its challenge. In every aspect of life, its diversity is amazing. So when you speak about America, one thing we want to, kind of showcase is that diversity. And diversity will have diversity in expression as well. As Prophet ﷺ said, sometimes you have to express in other forms that can strike hearts and minds. And this is the goal, is to convey the message into the mind and the heart of those who are used to getting the message through that medium. And poetry is one of the mediums. We hope people will step back and listen and try to hear the message behind the rhythmic style in which is coming. We in our Jamaat have poetry, and I think people will enjoy it if they begin to listen to the message.
Search to find peace of mind. I happen to find mine through Islam. So this is a poem that I did. It's related to African Americans, and it's dealing with African Americans who predominantly are Christians and those who have become Muslim. So there's a relationship between African American and Christian and Muslim African Americans. So this poem was addressing that issue. I did this for a Black History event we had at the mosque in Chicago some time ago. So I call this poem Pork and Beef. Should I go? Okay. Just because I don't eat pork don't mean you gotta have beef with me. Just because I don't believe God had a baby daddy or was his own baby daddy, don't mean that I'm not your brother or you ain't my sister, or that we haven't suffered together through stormy weather on ships upon the Atlantic. And it makes me seasick to see some among my people looking at me with pity. You telling me the prayers of those people, those among our people, weren't accepted? Do you really want to monopolize salvation? Because in the process of getting that version, we were raped, lynched, drowned, shot, set on fire, thrown on the trains and trolleys. Did I mention we was enslaved? And yeah, enslaved by hypocrisy, but still, you should consider all that more than a fair trade if you really want to monopolize that salvation and juxtapose a verbal or nonverbal agreement, a declaration of all those who couldn't wade in the water of that religion in the past, in the present, and in the future. To see blacks that Mad Max dogmatic is tragic, but even more so surprising, because whenever I hear those lighter complexion evangelicals evangelizing, I get this sinking feeling. Trying to keep this black rage stored up like canned goods to the day I got to crack open a can of I am a man, like on a picket sign, but I'm not trying to picket this time. Through the thicket of the wilderness, we all search to find peace of mind. I happen to find mine through Islam. My great-great-great-grandmom found hers through the best thing available at that time in those ever so trying circumstances, trying not to shirk her own suicide due to the murky chances her time in this life would ever get any better. Of that, she caught no glimpses, no glances, no divine revelation about society's future cultural advances. Just faith. And yeah, faith in a white man on the wall. And even if he had been black, that don't even matter. What matters is, despite our debate over whether that first commandment had indeed been broken, my own ancestor carried the torch of black spirituality that was blazing, smoking in the darkness of the wilderness. She and those like her found and followed the best path they could see. And Jesus didn't have followers like that since the 1st and 2nd centuries. I'm not lying. In this American Coliseum, slavery was the lion. And true believers in the messengers of God have been dying in the past, in the present, and in the future. Will those who follow the Messiah of this age suffer the same? The writing is on the inside wall of my brain as it processes accusations masked as questions. Why was all the terrorists Muslim? See there? See there? Why was all the slave masters Christian? No, see, you got to understand the context, young man. You want a universal religion? Join the fold of hypocrisy. You see, the devil's missionary work, Shaitan's tabligh effort, ain't no joke. His dawah has power over certain kind of individuals who choose to follow, but I can no longer allow him to divide us. I didn't convert to indirectly declare my grandmother's faith as unreal. I just reverted back to the ideal. And certainly not to monopolize salvation. Was it never meant to be dismissive of the salvation so many Christian Negro slaves most mercifully gain? So apologies in advance for that Muslim trying to run game, you know, where they say that religion enslaved you. Brother with not the best tact coming across to you like an attack. Half is how he says it, half is how you listen. And maybe in his eyes the light of Rasulullah didn't glisten. But even on days in close to perfect submission, brothers and sisters still think I'm on a suicide mission with my Islam. They be checking me out like I'm the bomb. And it's that thought right there, that thought you're entertaining. I like to catch that out and about in a public place and blow it up. I got over 400 years of genetic memories chained to my chest, ready to detonate like 500 million final prayers made while sinking into the abyss, sinking. And I'm thinking events like 9/11 don't even factor into the equation, because just like we saw past masses interpretation, rose up from our church pews only to face Sunday picnickers and barbecues, we can see past Osama's version with far greater ease. Because since before bin Laden, Africans been having Juma on Fridays, festivals on Eid days, and direct communication with the Creator, who spoke to the righteous and pious among us, spoke through dreams, visions, and revelations, and still speaks as we strive to spiritually rise and peak. And is that not what we all seek? My ex-girl asked me, why you want to be Muslim? Well, I can give you a hint. I can give you a clue. The last prayers of a dying man was that one of his descendants might ashhadu Allah ilaha illallahu. Thank you.
Welcome back to Real Talk. Today we are discussing the various aspects of urban life. We're going to further dive into the social and spiritual aspects of urban life. I want to open up with a question. Rumbai, how is some of these religious backgrounds that we mentioned help some of the youth that are growing up right now? How can we make that a better pathway for them?
Make it a better pathway for them. First, it's all about Allah. It's establishing a relationship with God. It's developing the love for God in your heart, knowing that God is there. God won't abandon you. And once people get to recognize this, then seeking God, and they can start walking according to the guidance of God, and doing things appropriately, and following examples of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and look at what's going on in our time. Keep up with your own time, and quit depending on so many stories and things from the past, to help you organize your life in this day and age, because God provides, for us a guide in this day and age, also a guidance.
So what I want to get into maybe is what is the message that people are looking for? What is the message that people need right now to help them out, maybe through whatever struggles that they may be facing? Here, right? Maybe.
If we're talking about in the urban areas, in the inner cities, again, they are experiencing the same challenges and problems that everyone is experiencing. And they need the same message that we, as Ahmadis, are trying to provide to the world, all right? And our approach, we should be very creative in ensuring that we address those questions and those challenges to them using the medium that they are currently utilizing. I think initially that we need to be very careful and not to buy into a lot of the negative stereotypes when we talk about the inner city and those individuals who live within those areas, and approach them, with respect, as that we are concerned about their well-being as humans, and that we actually have a message that will benefit them. So I think that is the thought process and how we should address the issues that are currently dealing with the people in the inner city.
Emin Nuruddin, what do you think?
Well, thinking about the urban perspective, I like to go back and think about the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And Mecca at that time was an urban setting. And many of the problems that are being faced today are the same problems that existed then. And the same solution exists now as existed then, and that is the word of a law which he revealed to the Prophet of Islam in the form of the Holy Quran. And it is going to apply as much today as it did then. Those people were, they were changed completely by this revelation which was received from God, and the people of this modern day can be changed completely as well. But we have to be active and let them know that the cure for their ailments is here, is available to them, and we can help them get that. And it doesn't take a long time, but it just takes the effort, and it takes the real concern from us. And because nowadays, basically, the satanic element of society in general has made bad good and good bad. We have to try to, set things aright the way the Prophet of Islam did through the message of the Holy Quran.
We get a quick perspective from the audience. What do you think is the message that people need, particularly relating to the urban environment? If anybody could just give, some brief perspective maybe on what that message, could be. Sure.
Well, just to sum up, I think education is key. For me personally, I know language is fascinating to me, written, and there's also the oral aspect as well. To go back to the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a quote I read from a hadith. I'm just going to summarize it, but one of the Sahaba, may Allah be pleased with them, said that after the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never heard anyone as eloquent and as persuasive in their speech as Hazrat Aisha. So language is key in winning people over to your side, be it written language or oral language. And that's something we can definitely instill in people in the inner city areas.
Okay. Anybody else, please?
A lot of times even in the depths of the hood, there are lots of Muslims. The only problem is they're not organized. And so one Muslim community, another Muslim community, you go to this mosque, I go to this mosque, they can't get organized. And that's where, since we are so organized, we need to go into that environment and really bring these people out of that depths of darkness. And each individual can become a light that guides so many other people. And they don't have to have money. They don't have to have, a huge organization helping them. They don't have to be super eloquent, you know what I mean? But you have to have love for the people. And when the people see that you have love for them, they start to develop a love for you and what you love. And when they do that, it's just a cycle, and one person, infects another, and it keeps going. And I think on a very basic level, love of God is something that we can instill with them, and that's the most important thing.
So just to wrap up here real quick, what is some of the, after having discussed all of these different topics, what do you want our viewers and our audience to take away from this discussion? Pierre?
I think, again, most important that be very careful and be mindful of the negative images that the media and other elected officials try to portray of the urban area of the inner city. Also be conscious of the fact that the individuals who live within the urban areas are experiencing some of the same problems and challenges that we have. And they have the same goals, same desires that we have, okay? And that as a community, that we need to reach out to them and to show them that there is answers to their problems that they are currently experiencing.
Arun?
The message is, I was born and raised in the Chicago streets, urban America, right outside my door. These same problems was going on. You had the drugs, lack of education. You had a lot of things. Right now, 39% of America saying marriage is going to be obsolete, single-family households, all these was a problem. They want to get rid of marriage and exploit, dating and make it like this is a really good thing. And, just the trials and tribulations coming up in these circumstances. I'm grateful to Allah that I did find Islam and did grasp on to some of these good moral concepts, staying away from drugs, doing things that won't hurt other people, just having respect for humanity, period. A lot of these concepts, how to respect women, guard yourself against, sexuality and things like this. And, you know, it's steadily, a lot of moral values in America, urban America, is declining, you know, where they promoting gay marriages, homosexuality, and where the concept of marriage, you know, is being separated. So I think when we look for an answer, we should focus on Islam, they got solutions, good family values, and these type of things.
Let's get Emma Nuruddin's viewpoint, please.
Well, I think that as Khalifatul Masih is calling us to do, we should all try to get involved in tabligh and in spreading this message to all of the different groups of people, not only in the urban settings, but all around this nation, because it's truly the answer for the problems which people are facing today. Myself, I grew up in the inner city area, and it started out with somebody inviting me and taking the time to explain these things to me, and I began to understand that, and then I accepted that. And many more hundreds of thousands and millions of people will do the same thing if we do what we're supposed to do. So that's what I would like to say in the end.
I'd like to thank our panelists and our audience for giving us such a great discussion. And I would like to thank our audience at home as well for tuning in. If you would like to give us your feedback, the email address is realtalk@mta.tv. Our official web address is www.mta.tv/realtalk. And if you would like to follow us on Twitter, our address is mta_realtalk. And again, I'd like to thank our panelists and our audience. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum.